What's up, everybody? We're gonna go day 5. Hold on. I didn't make a video for 2 days, so day 4 would have been 2 days ago. Day 5 would have been yesterday. So this is day 6. Day 6. We're going to day 6 of NoFap. The time is 11:33 p.m. I'm a little soft-spoken because I had a crazy 2 days. Very little sleep and a lot of yelling. Not bad yelling though. Just a lot of yelling, a lot of singing, a lot of fun. But I guess we could recap starting from Friday. Friday was crazy. Friday was insane. I mean, I had a fantastic birthday. Like I said, I did nothing. But Friday I did a workout. Went to the and went to the potluck and had a really good time there. Got to play some games. Say goodbye to a priest that was very well loved. And then after that, I went to go dancing with some friends, and we had a really good time there too. You know, but it was intense. It was very intense because we went really hard on the dance floor, and then afterwards, you know, got some food, and I think I got home at around 5 a.m. that night. So very tired, and I woke up, got about 4 hours of sleep, or 5 hours, I think. 4 or 5 hours, somewhere around there. I woke up, and I knew I was going to have a lot of food, and I kind of want to keep my figure. I'm still trying to cut, but I went to go get some of the best fried chicken out there, and so I knew I needed to burn some calories, so I did about 42 minutes on the treadmill, uphill treadmill walk, and then got some food after that. What did we do? We did something that night. What was it? We went to the beach. That's right. I didn't have a lot of time to take a nap after that, so I ate the food, came home, got ready for the beach, went to the beach, and it was really fun. It was a really fun time at the beach. We stayed there for, it was frustrating to find parking, first of all, but second, it was fun. It was a fun time. I got to get into the water for a little bit, but made s'mores, did all the bonfire stuff, and went to Denny's after that, and man, I just had a long weekend, so I'm looking forward to trying to recover slowly from that. I tried to do some recovery today, but I think I'm gonna try and recover. I'm not fully recovered. I'm gonna try and recover for the rest of this week. But sorry. I gotta get energized. This is a video. I gotta get energized. Okay, so I guess something I want to talk about today is what I've been. I guess what I did this Sunday, and what I found out this Friday. So there were 2 girls that I was interested in, and for those of you who don't know me, I have standards as a guy, and that for some reason, like, very basic standards is very rare. It's very rare for people to meet these very basic standards. So that's, like, for me to actually be interested in a person, especially where I live, which is LA, it's very rare. It's very rare for me to be interested in a person. So I was interested, and I too. And on Friday, I kind of knew she was kind of seeing somebody, but basically Friday confirmed it. And then Sunday, I went to ask this other girl for her number, and she told me she had a boyfriend. So it seems that, like, I have very basic standards as a guy, right? All the guys watching this will understand what these basic standards are. All the girls watching this, you may not know. I don't even know if I have any female watch. I don't have any female viewers, but all the guys, you know the basic standards. I know, some people will leap over these standards, but the basic standards is very simple. She's got to be, no body count to low. I'm a no body count or low body count, right? Low or no body count, right? And just feminine, and deep into the faith. Like, there's just basic stuff that men are just like genuinely, every man has it built into them that they're attracted to, and wifely qualities too. And girls will say, and I come across them all the time. Girls will say, "I want a husband," but they will never say, "I'm ready to be a wife." I've never heard a girl say, "I'm ready to be a wife." It's even the ones that complain. The ones that complain say, "Where are all the good men at?" Right? I've never, ever heard a girl say, "I'm ready to be a wife." Because they know deep down they're not. But basically what I look for is wifely qualities that make me want to pursue this person. That's basic, right? I have all my other preferences that I can overlook, but the basic is, do I get a sense that you'd make a good wife, right? And that's just basic, and very little people meet that standard. Very little people meet that criteria. And I've had people say, and I've had people like, and they're mostly women. I've had women look at me weird for wanting stuff like this. And I'm just like, if you're looking at me weird, you don't have to worry. You're not one of the girls I'm attracted to. So don't worry about it, But there's very few girls out there that meet my criteria. All the ones that do end up having boyfriends. Evident, like, the two that I was interested in, boom, has boyfriends. Every girl I see, like, in the more traditional Latin mass, right? You go to Novus Ordo Mass, it's hit or miss. If you go to the traditional Latin mass, almost every girl that is of age is taken by, like, they're already dating somebody, right? So it's kind of just over. Like, it's kind of just, it feels so, it's so, I guess, discouraging, because you just, like, kind of get your hopes up, like, and because it's rare, right? Because it's so rare that these girls are out there. I almost want to jump the gun and just say, don't care, haven't had a real conversation with her, don't care, I'm gonna ask her out, right? You almost have to, like, jump the gun. You almost have to be like, but here's the thing. I don't want to come across as freaking desperate, right? I'm not. That's why I want to play things slow. That's why I want to do things properly. However, it seems that when I do, like, somebody else has gotten there before me. So, and when I jump the gun, I don't have time to discern, right? I don't have time to actually, like, look at the life of this person, or see how she behaves, or see how she presents herself, and be like, okay, that's something I'm interested in, right? I'm a very, I want to I want to look at how they present themselves, and, over time, just interact slowly. How are you like, right? I don't care if you, like, when they wear a veil, or when they wear, like, modest clothing, that's a good sign. However, that doesn't mean that they are wifely. That doesn't mean that they're, just the way they present themselves is important. However, I won't know that they're, like, wife material until I've, like, interacted more with them, right? So, because I have, it's kind of this double-edged, like, hey, I want to have good discernment so I don't get screwed over, but at the same time, that number of the number of people that are like wifely that I'm interested in, that I'm interested in, is like they're getting snatched up quick, you know. So that's just something I had to accept today, you know. That's something that I had to accept. And I'm still, you know, in the process of doing it, you know. That's just how life is. It's just how life is that, you know, the most basic things are just no longer common. In fact, it's incredibly rare. The most basic things. And there's no way that I'm going to lower my standards, because if I do, I know that I will never ever ever love a woman like that 100%. Like, there's no way. I'd have to basically treat her as if like this is a purely business exchange. Like, here's the business, right? Here this is how it's going to go down. You're going to shut up. You're going to cook, you're going to clean, you're going to do all this stuff. And if you're not interested in that, goodbye. And there's literally no room for love there, right? And it would be solely to protect me, right? Because if I marry you and I have to sign some government contract that you get half my stuff, you better believe you're signing a prenup. You better believe I'm going to protect myself, right? If you do not meet those basic standards, and I'm going to have to like lock in with you, then I'm going to treat this more business-like than more relational, right? I like this many kids. If you can't provide me this many kids, the contract's off, right? And I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I want to have a nice relationship. However, nobody meets those basic standards of what, like basic wife standards anymore. It's very, very rare. It's very rare. I don't know how it's like for you guys. Obviously, LA's a hellhole, but here it's where I am. It's where I am, you know. So that's why I'm not budging on a lot of the things that I know are. It's not even like, obviously these are things that I want, but it's also things that I know would form a cohesive marriage, right? And I'm not going to budge on that. And if I do budge on that, then there's not going to be a whole lot of love in it. It's going to be very business-like. It's going to be very business-like. And at that point, I wouldn't want it. At that point, I would just be like, all right, I guess it depends. Like, if I'm in my 40s, right, making a contract with like somebody in their late or mid 30s, saying like, hey, you know, it would be so screwed up, because I would be telling them, hey, you're not exactly what I want, but I'm getting desperate here, right? We'll be lucky to have like 3 kids with your age, but we're gonna try. And then you know, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm afraid to get screwed over. So if I am gonna marry you, you're gonna sign a prenup. And I don't like. You're not as devout, or maybe you're not as devout, or maybe you're so feminine, like super feminist, and you don't want to listen to what I say, or you want to like, or you're like chronically online. It's like, at that point, yeah, I'm going to treat this like a business if you're going to be like that. And that's not what I want to do. So I'm sure a lot of guys out there can relate. But anyway, I digress. That's what I'm I don't know. I talked about this earlier, that I have to come to terms with, like, maybe like, I do have this desire for a marriage, but it is also not promised. It's not promised. So it's yeah, I haven't fully, you know, obviously it's hard to fully accept that, especially when you have such a strong desire for it, for a wife and a family. And you know, if you see my other videos, it's not just spiritual and it's not just personal. My desire to have a family. It's also ancestral. You know, I have 2 older brothers. They never dated. I've already explained this. Feels like I'm the last hope of the family. You know, but anyway, I'm still kind of processing that, and yeah, it'll take some time. But video's gone on long enough. I digress. I'm supposed to talk about NoFap. This is a bit about my life. Okay, I get to. This is my channel. I get to talk about whatever I want. I know it's NoFap. I want to talk about whatever I want. But anyway, I do want to give a shout out to Mike. He sent me a video that massively helped me. He sent me a video, a podcast that massively helped me. And that's why I'm like on day 6, haven't relapsed. Well, obviously I peaked, but I'm not gonna. So I'm gonna read through your comments about you know, what I asked last video about if I should restart the timer. Obviously, you could tell I have not restarted it yet. What I'm going to do is, if I do it again, I'm going to restart it, right? I peaked once. If I do it again, I'll restart it. That's what I'm going to settle down on. That's what I'm settling on. But anyway, yeah, shout out to Mike. He sent me a podcast that helped massively. I'm gonna actually look it up right now so I could recommend it to all of you. If you really want to get down to like the sciencey stuff, if you want to get down to the logical side of it, if you want to get to the you know, if you want weapons, if you want to know like what goes on, because most of this stuff, especially when it comes to addiction, it's your brain, right? It's kind of your own brain acting against you, right? That's what I struggled with when I was like lazy, right? And I was trying to get myself motivated, and I would get motivated and the motivation would fly away. Like nobody stays motivated forever, right? You got to have some discipline. And so that's how I started going to the gym every day, and why it's become so like second nature to me, because I made it into a habit. Was it awful? Yes. I freaking hated it. And I'll be honest with you, I still hate it. I still hate going to the gym. I like the way I look, but I hate going to the gym and I hate doing all that stuff. But it's because I'm disciplined enough to do it. And I made a habit of it so that now it's easy to wake up and the first thing I do is get ready to go to the gym. It's like second nature to me. However, that's also true with bad habits. But anyway, Mike sent me this video, and the guy's name is, and I don't know if I can link it in my description. YouTube has a weird thing about linking to other YouTube videos. I think I can, but either way, it's called The Pathfinder by Bogdan, and he's a guy that believes in semen retention and all that stuff. And there's some huge benefits, obviously, that if you follow the NoFap space, there's huge benefits to semen retention. But he sent me this video where he interviews a neuroscientist, and the neuroscientist kind of gives him a bunch of basically breaks down the science of like an addiction and what it does to your brain, but also other triggers, right? Other things you do that I didn't even think about, that causes like a rush of dopamine to happen. Because what happens once you relapse, right? It's probably the biggest rush of dopamine, right? When you relapse, it is your brain gets an enormous injection of dopamine. And I've always treated dopamine as like, I don't know. It's kind of, I never thought about it too much, right? I never thought about it too much. All I knew is it felt really good, but I knew it was bad for me and I wanted to stop. That's all I knew. But now to get down to the science stuff of it, like there's other things out there too that induce a dopamine reaction that I do that isn't like authentic, like scrolling through social media, like getting nice comments whenever, like getting likes whenever I make a comment on stuff. Like that kind of dopamine rush that's like inauthentic, like I didn't work for it. It was so simple. I just pressed a button. Like it's really, it started to open my eyes like, wow, I really have like I really have a bad relationship with things that give me easy dopamine, right? Things that I could just press the button and it'll be easy to feel that nice feeling. When that nice feeling, that dopamine rush, is supposed to come from doing hard work or participating in hobbies. And that's also why my voice kind of like that's also why my voice is a little bit worked up, I guess. That's not the right word, but I'm gonna say it, worked up, is because after watching that podcast, I started to catch myself scrolling through social media, like scrolling through Instagram Reels, scrolling through Facebook Reels, I don't have TikTok, thank God, but and going through X as well. Is just like, it's just content. That's all I'm trying. Like, I'm consuming content for the free dopamine rush. And, you know, now I'm starting to catch myself do that. I'm being like, what am I doing? I'm like frying my brain right now. It's bad. That's why I'm impressed when I'm actually impressed with you guys, because like this video's lasted like 22 minutes already. And if you're still watching this, congratulations. You haven't fried your brain completely. But yeah, I find, and I'm starting to catch myself being like, what am I doing? I'm wasting so much time. This is a free dopamine hit that I've done no work for. And I like toss my phone. And that's why my voice is like a little bit shot. That's the word, shot. My voice is a little bit shot because I picked up my guitar again after so many years, and I started playing and I started singing again. Like, it's been so long since I played guitar, but I was like, I need to get back into some kind of hobby. Okay, well, you went to school for singing and dancing and acting. Pick up the guitar and sing something, right? So it's getting back into my hobbies. It's trying to do more reading. It's trying to, and if I am going to consume content, I want it to be educational content that is long form, right? Like podcasts, all of that stuff. And yeah, and you know, full disclosure, right? I also used ASMR to help me sleep, right? And I did that for a few years, and I didn't realize how bad it was for my brain, because I looked it up. Like, ASMR does activate your dopamine as well. Like, all the tingling sounds, all the other sounds that go into your ear, and you know, all of that, all the ASMR sounds. Apparently it does like activate dopamine. You know, it activates all other stuff too, but there is dopamine stuff. And I was trying to be, I was like, okay, I got to cut that out too. I got to cut that out as well. So first night I went to bed. It was the hardest time. It was very hard to sleep, because usually I'll like put in my earbuds, go to sleep to it, right? It helps a lot with my sleep. But because it was so hard for me to sleep with like silence, I was like, oh man, it's gotten this bad that I can't even sleep in silence, right? People are setting off fireworks. It's almost 4th of July. But yeah, it was bad. Yeah. Once I realized that, I was like, this is bad. I gotta stop listening to the ASMR tinglings, like the freaking like crumpling paper in your ear. It helped me sleep, what can I say? But it also activated dopamine. So now I'm cutting that out. Trying to pick up more hobbies, not playing video games. I played today, right? Because it's a rest day. I played today, but that was it. stop watching YouTube videos. Like there are times where I'll be like, okay, let's just sit in silence and just think about stuff. All right, or try not to think about stuff either. Like try to empty the mind. Right? It just depends on what I do, but trying not to consume content, trying not to indulge in things that make me feel good, and trying to actually work for something that'll make me feel good about it, like a sense of accomplishment, not false accomplishment that I get from obviously pornography, but from social media, from like going through reels, from likes on X, like all that stuff. So yeah, it's been an interesting, like it was a really great video, and that's how I've been able to get to day 6, because now when I do get that anxiety, that tightness in the chest, like what my favorite thing to do is just shadow box, right? It's just do a bit of Muay Thai shadow boxing and just start throwing hands. That helps a lot. Like that helps a lot. But so many other things too to let me work for my dopamine. I'll do push-ups. I'll play guitar. I'll sing. Like once that anxiety comes, now I know it's like, oh, my brain wants some dopamine, and that's fine. I'll give it to it. I'll give dopamine to my brain, but it's not going to be for pornography, right? But I need to have a list of things that does give me dopamine that I can work for, that is healthy for me, that will actually help me develop skills like playing guitar, like building up my body doing push-ups, like building up my fighting technique with Muay Thai, like shadow boxing, like that kind of stuff. Reading also, I need to read more. But yeah, that video helped a lot. So big shout out to Mike, big thank you to him as well. Check it out, The Pathfinder by Bogdan. He did this video is super recent. It's about 8 days starting from today. It's called A Neuroscientist Rated My 300 Days of Semen Retention. And it is, if you want the science of like basically the hormone dopamine, and obviously that's what a relapse does, is flood your brain with dopamine. If you want the science of all of that stuff, especially if you're a logical person like most men are, I highly recommend watching the video. It will help you come up with it'll help you know how your brain is betraying you essentially, and then what to do when the symptoms of withdrawal, dopamine withdrawal, come, right? It'll give you a sense of what to do. So anyway, now let's get to your comments. It's been almost 30 minutes, right? Let's get to your comments. I want this video, like uploading this video is going to take forever, by the way. It's like 12 a.m. It's like already the next day. So I gotta chug this video along. Anyway, comments. Bass Pro Shop 2007. Day 15 heading day 16. I had a 111 streak this year. Dude, that's around the best, like that amount of, that streak is about as much as my highest streak. And that was in my 20s. That was my 20s. I remember back in, an older channel that I did the NoFap journey on. I think I got to 120 something or 130 something before I relapsed. I think that might have been my best record, right? But the whole, and I've said this in past videos before, the whole point of NoFap is to no longer need it, right? But you got to develop those habits. It's hard to just leave a void of completely getting rid of your pornography addiction, but then not replacing it with something better, right? You got to replace it with something better. So, but hey, keep going strong. Hey, day 16, dude, that's pretty good. I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get there soon. But yeah. Also, new commenter. Thanks for the comment. JD, what up, bro? Just been catching up with your videos since I've been working nonstop recently. Keep up the grind, man. Let's keep going. Hope you had a great birthday, man. Thank you. I almost got away with nobody singing happy birthday to me until last night. They got me. Anyway, I would say it's up to you to restart. Yeah, I've already explained that. But I do remember before you would restart a streak after peaking. Yeah, that's true. I did. If I peak again this time, I'm gonna restart, and then I'm gonna be like no peaking, or I'll restart. Right. Your definition of relapse, whether it's a full one or not, depends on youth. Another thing I wanted to talk about, lamenting not having a wife and kids. Ultimately, what we want is nothing compared to what God wants. Yeah, it's true. If you have your own family, great. If you don't, still great. As long as you hold steadfast onto your faith, that's the true priority. Yeah, yeah. And I brought it up. I've prayed about it. I mean, I've prayed about it for a long time. I've been praying about it for a long time. Because I have a spiritual desire, I have a personal desire, and I have an ancestral desire to have a family. So I know I have a longing for the vocation of marriage, but it's also God's timing, right? It's also, God knows I don't want to screw it up, right? But, He also knows when I'm not going to screw it up. And so I trust God that, I trust in God's timing, and the timing may even be never. The timing may be never. And I'm going to have to come to terms with that and accept that. And obviously, I've talked to God about this. I've prayed about this. I've said, could you just please, if this isn't something that you want from me, could you just please take the desire away from me? Or is this what you want me to go through? Do you want me to have this intense desire to have a wife and family only to not give it to me and let me live in this tension for the rest of my life? Because if it is, let me know. That way I can prepare for it, right? That way I can be fine. I can come to terms with it. I can have peace with it. I don't have to question. I don't have to do any of that stuff. But that's also just faith, right? That's the whole point. If I knew, then shoot. That wouldn't be faith, would it? But, it's coming to terms with that reality. It's coming to terms with that reality that I may not get that. Even if I have this intense desire for it, I may never get it. Or if I do get it, it may not be something that, if I do get it, it may not be something that that's ideal. And I don't know. For me, because I have this standard that doesn't seem so hard to meet, I'm freaking. It just doesn't interest me, right? There comes a time. I've been single for so long that if marriage isn't a certain way, it doesn't interest me. I'd rather be single, right? I'm surrounded by a lot of pretty girls, right? In LA, there's a lot of pretty girls. I'm surrounded by them. The looks mean zero to me. If you don't act like a wife, if I don't see wifely qualities in you, I'm just not interested. You are not worth the headache. I can already tell that you are going to be a headache to deal with. Therefore, no thank you, right? You are not a wife to me. No thanks. Maybe you're a wife to somebody else with lower standards, but for me, no. No, thank you. I'd rather be single than to have to live with that headache. So, it's coming to terms with that as well. That's why, yes, I don't mind being single. However, I do have an intense desire, but I also don't mind being single if it means avoiding that kind of contentious life. What does it say in Proverbs? I think it's Proverbs 19 or something like that. It's better to be in the middle of a desert than to be with a contentious woman. And there's a lot of contentious women out here. A ton. There's a lot. And so I'm just not interested. And it's gotten to a point where it's maybe I should just give up. And I know a lot of men that feel this way. This is a let's talk. This is a whole let's talk. But I won't get too much into it. But I know a ton of guys that feel this way, that they are ready to, they say, I'm building myself up. They're doing the same things I'm doing. They're working out, they're getting fight experience, they're getting rich, they're preparing themselves to be husbands, but they just can't find the girl that's even trying to be a wife, right? And it's the same old story. I see guys that are amazing, guys that are way better men than me. I know a guy, and I'm not going to put him on blast, right? I'm not going to air out like his public life. He's a great friend of mine. Very handsome looking dude, very well built. He does Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu. He's a doctor. He has a doctorate. He plays piano. He's extremely funny, and he's single. Like, it's bad. It's bad out here. He could have, like, I can tell he's got an amazing life, and he could give that amazing life to a girl too. It's just finding that girl that he hasn't been able to do yet. And he's in his mid-30s. He's in his mid-30s. And he looks young because he's Asian. But, like, I feel bad. I feel bad for that guy. And there's so many guys that I've met that are like that too. Way better men than me, richer than I am, stronger than I am, more skilled than I am, more charismatic than I am. Sometimes all four of those. And they're single because they can't find a person that wants to be a wife. They find people that want husbands, but they can't find people that want to be a wife. And it's the same. It's all of us, man. It's all of us. It's rough out here. It's rough out here as a single guy, as a sensitive yearner. It's hard, but we keep going. We keep going. And none of these men are at a point of desperation where they're just like, you know what, I'll just marry a girl from church, and just as long as she's Catholic, even if she's contentious, as long as she's Catholic or as long as she's Christian, it's just gonna have to make it work, right? I don't see any guy, because they know in their mind, they know in their mind that proverb that it is better to be. And probably from experience too, it's better to be in the middle of a desert than to be with a contentious woman. So they know it. But anyway, if I have my own family, great. If I don't, great, because the situation can be so much worse. It really can be, JD. It can be so much worse. So much worse. That's why, I am trying to be. I'm not where I want to be yet. I am trying to get there, and I want somebody that's at least making the effort. I'm not saying that they need to be perfect. I'm saying they got to put in the effort, pretty much the amount of effort that I'm putting in. And if I don't see that, I'm not interested. I'm not interested. So if I am single, great. I wish I wasn't, but I also understand the situation could be so much worse. I could be with a contentious woman, and she could make my life a living hell. So, anyway, but good point. You got a good point, JD. The Brave Files. Yes, keep going. Do not restart the streak. I've learned after many failed attempts, I have to accept that it will be never a perfect run. Even on the final run, where I never PMO again, I will peak. It's all about peaking less and less. Longer gaps between the days where I'm not completely clean. Oh, hey, that's not a bad. I mean, yeah, that's not bad. I mean, yeah. Because if you're going through all of this and you're trying to ease your way into no longer doing it, it's like a nicotine patch, right? And this is not licensed. I'm going to tell you this right now. This is not licensed to peak freely, right? If it happens, it happens, right? Some people need some people get that anxiety, some people get that chest tightness, and they just want to reach out and like relieve it for a second. But in my experience, it makes it worse. But it almost feels like a nicotine patch, right? You put it on so you don't have to smoke, and you get a little bit of nicotine, not as much as like smoking, but and I get it. But, there's other ways to get the dopamine. But, yeah, I'm probably not going to restart unless it happens again. But after that, then I'm probably going to be more hardline and more strict on it, just so I can keep making these videos. But anyway, thank you for the comment, Brave Files. Mike, it's your streak, so you get to make the rules. Some intend no PMO to mean that they won't engage in all three. Others say intend PMO is a verb, and a momentary snippet of one of its elements wouldn't constitute the act if a cooler head shuts it down before it can advance towards the second or third element. That's true. Yeah. If you hadn't considered what you intended heretofore, you should clarify your rule going forward. Realistically, anything that produces dopamine fuels ongoing addiction to some degree. Yeah, that's what I was saying, right? So I'm not, because of this situation, I'm not going to count this as a restart. However, in the future, if it happens, I will count it as a restart starting from now. So as it stands, I am on day 6. However, if I peak from here on out, it's getting restarted. But yeah, good point. Also, thanks for the video again, Mike. Mike's the GOAT. Mike is the GOAT. Anyway, that's all the comments, and I have a 40-something minute video now, so I need to upload this right yesterday so that I can get some more sleep for tomorrow. And tomorrow, it's also not going to be a regular day. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to be done with the gym, and normally I would be working on my business. However, my friend is still in town, right? And he leaves tomorrow. He leaves Tuesday morning, so I'm going to be spending the day with him. Always good to see that guy. I don't get a whole lot of opportunities to see him, so I'm going to be spending the day with him and another buddy of mine. I'm going to be showing him around my neck of the woods. So yeah, you guys are going to get a video on that tomorrow night anyway. So that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you all for watching. If you guys are on your NoFap journey, yeah, I gotta start asking questions again. Trying to get the comments a little bit more engaged. I gotta come up with these questions before I actually start a video, because I don't want to spend a bit of the video thinking about what question to ask. But I guess my question is, what made you start? What made you start NoFap? And for me, it was, I was doing it every day when I was a teenager. I was relapsing every day. I was trying to, sometimes twice a day. It was bad. It was really bad. And I knew it was bad. And I would have so much guilt and I have so much shame, but I couldn't stop doing it. And I think I did, I think it was after I was so awkward. I was awkward around girls. I was awkward around girls. I was awkward in social situations because I would feel this hot flash, right? I would get so self-conscious and I would be so nervous about being in a social situation, and I would be so awkward in it that it would make my entire body heat up. And I would feel this heat I'm not in a comfortable situation, and this heat was reinforcing that discomfort, right? And I got really sick of being socially awkward, and feeling such discomfort when people would talk to me. And I would be, and there was a time I relapsed maybe I relapsed in the morning. I realized after school. And then a little bit after school, I would do it again. And then after dinner, I would go back to my room. I would do it again. And before I went to bed, I'd do it again. I did a five relapse day once. It was awful. It sucked. I was a gooner and it was gross, dude. I was such a gross gooner, dude. I hated it. But then after like screwing up so many social situations and being known as the awkward kid, I mean, nobody like went up to my face and said that guy's the awkward kid. I just felt it. Like I knew I was the awkward kid. Like I couldn't hold eye contact. I couldn't talk to anybody. I was scared to open up to anybody. I couldn't be myself around people. It sucked. It sucked. And obviously that's like awkwardness of like being a teenager, but I always equated it to me. It was because I was jerking off so much. I tested it. I tested it because I didn't do all of like, I didn't relapse for like a few days. I tried because, you know, once you have a relapse, sometimes you can like stave it off because you got your hit. And I was like, okay, let's try to stave it off there as long as possible. And there was a time where I got through a few days and I was just like, okay, I'm good. Let's talk to people. And it was fine. It was fine. And then the anxiety would hit and then I would freaking relapse. And then that heat, that whole body heat of like pure discomfort in social situations happened again. Right? So at that point I knew like this is a problem. Like, is there anybody talking about it? I would look it up on the internet. Is there anybody saying that pornography is a problem? And back then, very few people were talking about it. Very few people were saying it was a problem. But that's when I found NoFap. That's when I found the community. Cause you know, you would like, especially when I was going to church, people would talk about it, right? Some people actually had the courage to talk about it. And so somebody brought up NoFap, and I looked up the community, and I was like, wow, finally, like a group of guys that like, I thought I was like the only person going through this problem. It turns out it's a ton of guys going through this problem. So, you know, it helped a lot with making me feel like, oh, I'm not like the only one going through this. I'm not the weirdo. It's actually like a huge problem for a lot of men. And it made me feel a little less weird, but it also made me be like, if I can kick this, I'm going to be a paragon among men. I'm gonna be like a legend if I can kick this thing, right? So yeah, that's how I found NoFap. And I want to know, what's your story? How did you find it? What was the cause? What were you like? How bad was it? And then how did you find it? You know, let me know. I want to know. But anyway, this video's gone on too long. That's it. Thank you all for watching. That's all I got for you guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.